All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The topic today is using customer reservations. My name is Julie Zindel, and I'm the VP of Client Experience here at Central Data. We are bringing these informative webinars on a regular basis throughout this year as a value-added benefit to our clients. And next month on April 14th, we'll present on another topic, which is IDM, Infor Document Management. Clark Varnes will be our presenter that day. So please watch for the opportunity to register for that session. A few housekeeping items before we start. All of the lines are muted right now and will be throughout the presentation. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat or the questions section, and I will be monitoring those chat message boxes so we can get answers to your questions throughout the presentation today. Any follow-up to this presentation, please be sure to contact either Tina or myself, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Our presenter today is Tina Rude. She is a business consultant here at Central Data on our client experience team. And Tina was very experienced in the support area previously, but today her focus is working with clients who are upgrading to CloudSuite Distribution. She is also our IDM Forms programmer, and she's located in Saginaw, Michigan. So she will be presenting today on using customer reservations. And Tina, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Julie. Today, we're going to be talking about customer product reservations. Customer product reservations represents a commitment to keep a quantity of product on hand for a specific customer at all times. So you want to make sure that you have quantity on hand for a customer or multiple customers at all times that cannot be borrowed against. The agreements, you can get agreements for an expected quantity within a period of time, or an expected quantity per order, or a total expected quantity over a period of time. So let's say they know they're going to use 100. It might take 1 year, it might take 2 years, but once they get through that 100, then the customer reservation comes off. You can set up agreements with your customers and set up ordering controls for the product to make sure you always have enough quantities on hand. We're going to walk through a little bit of that, and I'm going to show you how it shows up on the RAR. There is a couple of issues right now listed with Infor. I'll show you those as well to be on the lookout for them, and a workaround for that as well. There is no AO options for customer product reservations. You just go into the screen and set it up. Two ways to get to it. So from your menu, we can go to product, setup, and all the way down at the bottom is customer reservation or forecast. So customer reservation is actually you have two options. You have customer reservations and you have customer forecast. Today we're going to talk about customer reservation. If we get time at the end, I'm going to quickly go through forecast just to let you guys know a little bit of what it does. Some of the screens in here are pretty much the same between the reservation and the forecast, and some of the reports you can run. So we're going to talk about a little bit of both of those. So I have a product and I have a customer that wants to always make sure I have 2 on hand for this product in case they ever want to order it. So I'm going to come into my customer reservation forecast screen. Again, it's ICSPC for any of those that want to know the acronym, customer reservation / forecast. So our setup type here on the left is reservation or forecast. It defaults to reservation. We do have a warehouse required. These are set up by warehouse, by customer, by ship to. So right now I'm just going to put in my warehouse, which is my requirement, and hit search. So right now I have a reservation type set up for customer 1 that's active. It started in 2016. It's going to end way into the future, and it's still going. So I'm going to add a new one because I have a new customer that has a product they want me to reserve. Over on the right, I'm going to hit new. So it opens up with our details, with our warehouse, customer ship to. I haven't added any of that yet, so this isn't populated. So I'm going to scroll down. We have 3 tabs here: general, detail, and custom. General tab is our warehouse, our customer. I'm going to use customer 5, which is the customer I set up in my name and my company. And then start date, we're actually going to start today, and we're going to do a year from now. If I have a contract, so let's say the customer gave me a contract number, I can put it in here. There's also a reference field and a fill priority. So if you have multiple customers with the same product reservation, or that customer product reservation, you can set up fill priorities for them as well. But we're just going to leave it as one because we're only going to set up one here. So right here, we're all set up. So we're going to hit save, and it's going to take us out, save the record, and now we can see it in our list. So we can go back in, and our details is now updated. We have an active button that's now checked. And if we want to edit, we have access to the start date. The end date is grayed out, you can see, but we can click on our active button. We're going to go through ways to inactivate these at the end through the reports, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to come over to detail. So now I need to add my product. Over to detail, and we have this product search. So this is actually a product search. Once we start getting our product detail in here, we can do searches on it if you have more than one new. Okay, so the product I'm choosing is a digital measuring system. Again, don't forget, anytime you see an arrow to the right, if you click on that, it takes you to that inquire screen. So this is my product, and this will take me to product inquiry. My required quantity. So what is the quantity that the customer wants me to keep on hand at all times? I'm going to say 2. We have total expected quantity. We can leave this blank or we can populate it. So if your agreement with your customer is I want you to have 2 on hand at all times until we go through 100, you can put, let's say, 100 here. But I'm going to leave it blank because we're just going to do it for the year. We put a year date range in there. There's 2 buttons down here, allowed to pull quantity and replenish stock. Allowed to pull quantity allows a user with certain access to be able to pull the quantity for a customer reservation, but you can only pull a customer reservation if you have a customer that also has a customer reservation for the same product. I will go through how to pull a customer reservation though if you absolutely need the product, because let's face it, we all know that if we have a customer reservation, there's 2 on hand for that customer, and you have an emergency for another customer, you're going to give it to them. So we're going to talk about how to get through that as well. Replenish stock. So replenish stock will look at your min and max and your reservation along with your demand to see what you should show up on your PO-RAR. This is where we have a little bit of issues I'm going to review once we go through the PO-RAR, just to kind of show you what's happening right now until Infor gets it fixed. Reserved quantity is the quantity that will be reserved when you have an on hand. So this box is not grayed out, and you can only touch it if you have access to maintain balances in the system. So your SASO setting for maintaining balances needs to be set for you to touch this. We're going to only touch this if we need to borrow against it because you have 2 on hand, it's reserved for this customer, and another customer needs it. We're going to be able to come in here. And then this is everything that will populate once you start selling the product, and these will start populating. So, and you have your user fields here as well, but we're going to leave those be, and then we're just going to hit save. So now we have a customer reservation set for product 1-123 for customer 5, warehouse 1. I did not choose a ship to, but we can if we want to, for quantity 2 for the next year. And if we want to add more, we just keep going down to the new. So I can go here. I can actually add the same product. I'm sorry, different product. Required quantity. Let's say this customer 5 wants 1. We're going to replenish stock and allow other customers. So we're going to hit save. Awesome. This is very good. So there are rules for product reservation. So the rules are it must have an ARP of vendor, warehouse, or central. It cannot be a kit. It cannot be a direct ship. It cannot be an order as needed. It cannot be a kit, whether it's a build on demand. It cannot be a kit component or a tally component or labor or an active. So there's a bunch. So there are rules. So basically you need a product that's a stock product, ordered by the vendor, and on your shelf. So we're just going to hit cancel because we don't want that one. So we can go through here and add as many as we want. And then if we want to do a product search, we can. So let's say this particular customer 5 might have 100 products that they want reserved for them because they have agreements with you. We're also going to go through ways to import those. So we'll talk about that after as well. So the search comes through if you have a bunch of product details here and you want to do search on a product, or you can search for allowed pull quantity or demand quantity. So if you check this, it's going to pull and hit search. It's going to pull those lines that have the allowed pulled quantity. And this one is going to have anything that has a demanded quantity. So there's no demanded quantity for this one, so it took it away. This one is set up to a pull quantity, so we're showing it. Allowed to pull quantity. Oop, I forgot to hit replenish stock, and we'll hit save. And then we have our custom tab over here if you want to put anything custom for user fields. Okay, if we want to inactivate it, we can do that manually by checking the inactive button. You do have to make sure this is inactive before you delete the full record. The full record can be deleted or inactivated. I'm going to hit cancel here and I'm going to go back. So if we check our box here, we have edit, copy, delete, or we can activate or inactivate it. So if I actually hit delete here for this record we put in, it will not, there we go, cannot delete a customer reservation inactive one. So we do have to make sure that it is inactivated and not active before we delete it. So let's see what that did. Now that we have our customer reservation set, there's nothing else we have to do in this screen. Let's go to ICIA, which is our product inquiry, and see what it looks like. There's our 10. Oh, wrong product, sorry. Try this again. And then our warehouse, and then our search. So now we see that in ICIA on product view, our customer reservation box is no longer a light gray, it's a dark gray. So if we click on that, we can go through here and see all of our reservations. So we see we have one reservation here. It's active. There's the contract number, the created date, the start date, the expiration. And then if we want to do any searching, we can use this. Since we only have one here, we're not going to need to search, but it's available here if you need to. So this would be multiple customers. So you can have multiple customers all pulling the same for customer reservation. We have a new field here called quantity short for reservations. This will be here and say 0 if you have an on hand. It'll show the customer reservation for 2, and your on hand is the total on hand, and the reserved is the reserve for the customer reservation. And then right now it's showing us we have 2 short. So we're going to go ahead and do a PORAR for this, and I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like and what to look for. Let's go to the run the RAR first. Okay, here we go. So I got my RAR. This particular product that I have is set up for vendor 103, art vendor. It's under my buyer 4. There's nothing else in here you need for that. So we're just going to hit save and run it. It'll be quick. It's got my one product or my one buyer, my one vendor. There we go. Let's go into this one. Okay, so this is our line. It is showing surplus because there is surplus in another warehouse. It is showing net available 0. and it is showing a quantity of 6. So if we go look at our min and max, which just to show you guys what the min and max is. And we have 0 on hand from ICIA. So our min and max is 2 and 5, and our reserved is 2. So right now it's showing that we have short 2 for our reservation, plus we have a min of 2 and a max of 5. So I would have expected to see 7 on here, but we are seeing 6. So this is where the bug comes in. When the quantity on hand is 0, it does have a problem calculating how much to order. So I'm going to let this go through with 6 because I would have changed it to 7. And we're just going to accept it. Let me just go make sure this is not. Oh, here's our 5. Oops, you know what? I did have the wrong warehouse. Oh no, it is 1. And our 3. So it has a hard time calculating that reservation quantity the first time. So you can see it kind of gave me a little bit of everything here. It does show the reservation quantity here of 2 and the quantity of 3. So it pulled them in here, just telling us we have 2. And so this is the part that Infor has a JIRA on right now, and we're just kind of waiting for them to fix. We haven't really heard anything back on a fix time for that yet, but just know that you will have a few problems once it goes through. I did test this, and it will work correctly after. I'm going to set the merge flag off on 2 of them, and I'm going to set the merge flag on this one. And we're just going to merge the first ones just so I can show you what it looks like. I'm going to print up 2 just so they're in that. So make sure we got to do our exception report and our print purchase orders, and we can just hit run. We can go ahead and close out of this, go back to our product availability. We can see we have 6 on order, 2 short, and our purchase order 100689. So we're just going to go through here and receive it. We're going to do full receipt.
So Tina, we do have a quick question regarding the RAR, so I'll ask it now if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
She's asking if Amanda, this is from Amanda. She's asking if you could pull up the printed RAR and just show it what it looks like, and if on there if we print the actual report out. So maybe something different will show on the report.
Yeah, it might. You know what? I didn't look at the report. Let's see here. So the surplus was not taken because we have surplus there. Here's our PO1 vendor, product line 6. Created that one. Let's go back and look at our, see what it recommended. Hopefully you can all see that.
So it does show the customer reservations there on the printed report.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not quite getting the right, like I should have a line that says 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little funky when you first go to order it. But I'm going to show you guys. I only sent the 6 through because I want to show you what it looks like after when we have to do more. I'm going to. Yep. It definitely shows the customer reservation. It's just not quite adding it in correctly. So we did our final update, and so now we should have an on hand. Okay, so we have 6 on hand, 2 reserved. none short for reservations, and only a 4 total available now. So depending on where we have our product line set for order below line point or at line point is where it's going to decide. So I think mine was for line point. I'm going to run the RAR one more time. Just to kind of show you guys. Because really I'm short one. So I'm not up to my max. And my customer reservation is 2. So I have 4 left. Let's see what it tells us. I'll open it for you too, Amanda. Yep, so here's our 2 and our 5 on hand 4. And then should be 1. Yeah, see, it's ordering 5 here. Did I delete the other ones?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think I forgot to hit the delete checkbox when I ran it. Let's see what number this is. 9-1, that's what I thought. There we go. There's our 1. So once you do order the initial and you're not at 0, the system does calculate it correctly. I did a couple of different PORs with this. I had on hand 3, so 2 were set to the customer reservation, and then 1 was not available on hand. It did want me to order back up to max. So once you get past that initial 0 on hand, it is calculating correctly from what I can see. But please just know that Infor is working on a fix for that. So yeah, then we just run our RAR, and then we can have it back up to 5. Quantity short. So if we do an order now, let's close out of these. And let's do an order. I'm going to do an order first for the 2 that are available, just to kind of show you what it looks like. So I'm going to pick my product, 1-123, and you're going to see this not available field. So if you are using customer reservations and you have that not available field hidden, you might want to unhide it. It will put the CR asterisk next to it when it's looking at customer reservation product. So you can see on this one, it says we have available 6, but that's because there is a customer reservation on it for the customer I entered the order for. So if I do another customer, let's clear this. I'm just going to finish. And I'm going to grab Mr. John's Hair Clinic here. Go into 1, hit next. And now I'm going to put this product in, and it's going to say 4. There you go. It doesn't show you the customer reservation here because this customer does not have a reservation on that product, so it will not show you, but it'll only show you the net available 4. So if I do order 5 and I hit add, it will say that there is a quantity shipped is less than the quantity ordered, so it will back order that 1 piece. So you cannot seal it. Whoops, I'm going to delete this line just so we can go back and go through. Finish this order. So now let's say we have another customer set up with the same product. There's a couple other things in order entry I'd like to show you. So let's do Mr. John's Hair Clinic. We're going to start. Mr. John's Hair Clinic, though, is also going to go for a year. We're going to hit save, and then we're going to go back into it, and then go to detail. We're going to do the same product. Oops, hit new. Now, this is the search, not to set up the product. Got to hit the new over here. Our product, we're going to require 2. And then we're going to hit both of these. We're going to hit that allow to pull quantity just so I can show you how to pull quantity from another customer. And then we're going to hit save. We're going to back out. And then we're going to go back to our product availability. We're going to hit search. So now you can see we have 6 on hand, 4 reserved, and 2 total available now. Nothing short for quantity reservations. And if we click our customer reservations here, we can see now we have 2 customer reservations that are active. So now we are going to go do an order for 6 for 1 customer and see what it does. We're going to do my Tina because that's one of the customer reservations. So you can see it shows 4 available with the customer reservation. We're still going to put 6 here. Quantity short online with an active customer reservation. So extended fields, we can either, if we force it, we can force it. It doesn't love that you force ship with customer reservations. It will tell you, it will go, oh, maybe it won't add. That's not bad. If you do it for a customer that does not have a customer reservation on that product, it will tell you it's going below the on hand and it's going to throw it into a negative. It doesn't actually throw it into a negative. It just shows it's throwing in a negative because it is reserving that quantity.
So Tina, there's a question about that from Sandra.
Yeah.
She's saying, I see 4 reserved. What does future show when you have 4 reserved?
Oh.
In ICIA, yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
that's just my order, so it doesn't show anything. So you definitely have to make sure you look at that customer reservation button right here. So it's not here. I'll show you. See what another one looks like. This is, see, it's not as gray. It's a lighter gray, and you lose that quantity short for reservations. So that's really the only way you can tell looking at it in ICIA. So our customer reservations box is a little darker, and now we have the quantity short for reservations on here. And then if we go back to future, that is just our order. So what I would do in this instance is say, I know I have a customer reservation because this is here. Whether it's 0 or a number, this will always be here on a customer reservation. If you can't tell that this is darker, you would click on your customer reservations to see how many were there. So I'm going to change this to 2. And I'm going to update. There we go. And then if we go back to our ICIA, on hand 6, reserved 6, short. So even though I put the 2 on an order for that customer, it still will take the other 2 and reserve them. Does that make sense? So I have an open order for 2 and then 2 lines for 2 customers that have reservations. So right now that's a total of 6. So the system doesn't take out my reserved quantity because I put it on an order. It steals from the on hand when I put it on an order. So remember that, like it's going to look kind of funky. Once I get rid of that order, it'll change it back to reserved 4, but your total available now is still only going to be 0 because now you're only going to have 4 on hand. I hope that's not too confusing, because I think some people might expect to see 6 on hand, 4 reserved, and then 2 available now, because technically one of the reservations is on an order for that customer, but that's not quite how it's working out.
So Tina, we have another question from
Yep.
Sandra also. Normally an item won't show on the PO RAR until quantity available gets to min order point. Why is item showing on the RAR? Just because we are not at the max quantity. And I think you said that you have your ICSL set to order below line point. So let's just verify that.
Yeah, so if we go here and we go to our Swan, and it is PL1, and then it should be,
It's at the top.
is it, did I pass it?
Yeah, get into edit mode just in case
Oh yeah,
something's not shown right.
right
You're
here.
not at order below line point. So why, do you know why that's showing up on the RAR? If it's not, I don't know where we were on min and max. It was what, 3 and 5, I think?
2 and 5 with
2
a
and 5.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it was 3 and 5. Let's go back and look. With a 3 reserved, 2 reserved customer reservation. Let's go look just to make sure. Two and 5. Yeah. Yeah, so we're not really sure what it's doing. It does, like I said, I have noticed that once you get past that initial, if there's 0 on hand, the system does not calculate it correctly. But once I have an on hand, I just kind of went through and did a couple different scenarios, and it looked like it was ordering correctly from then on out. Now, if I got my on hand down back to 0, I bet it would still order the 5 instead of or it ordered the 6 instead of the 7 like I would have expected. I hope that answered your question. Okay, so here's our order. We can just finish it. And then we are done with that one. Okay, so again, like I said, just keep an eye out on the RAR until we get that JIRA fixed, and then we should be good going forward with the ordering. Reports. So there's 2 different reports we can show you. So I see, actually, customer reservation is the best way. We have 3 of them. So we have the ICSPC, which is the one we were in to set it up. There's customer reservation and forecast import. So if we want to import or export any of our customer reservations, we can do that here, or a forecasting. I'm just going to set it to view. I'm just going to show you. So here are our ranges. The ranges are for export only. So if we want to export any of our customer reservations or forecasts, we can do that here. Put it in our ranges. If we are importing anything, we're going to leave all of this blank. This is, like I said, export only. Go ahead and hit next. I'm going to put a customer in here because it is required. There we go. Okay, so our CSV directory, we would go here. Our CSV name would go here. Whether we want to import or export. Import if we want to update existing records, yes or no. And then we can do export the reservation, the forecast, and or both. And then we would just finish. So yeah, pretty simple. If you want to export just to kind of see what you guys have for customer reservations or forecasting, you can do that. If you want to import anything back, I think customer forecast would be a good one to import. And then we have a report. I like the report. I think it gives a lot of good information. ICRPC. So it's the customer reservations report. Let's do a new one time. We're going to send it to view. Here are our ranges. So we can do it by contract, the dates, the product, the warehouse. I'm going to put the customer in here, hit next. This is also how we can inactivate, remove, or neither. So if we want to run this to inactivate, this will look at all your customer reservations that are active with an expired date that is in the past, and it will mark them inactive. So it'll take that active checkbox off that record. Remove, if you want to remove anything that is inactive and past the date, you can remove it. It will delete it from the system. If you want to do neither, you can just do neither. Here, if you want to see the status of any of them, you can mark it here. Depleted products only, so any products where your customer reservation on hand is below, so your quantity short for your customer reservation. Replenish or not replenish or both, so that is the field that we see when we're actually in our customer reservation detail. And that's this replenish stock. Quantity sold commitment percentage, so we can put percentages in here if you're looking at the quantity sold commitment or display orders, products, or totals. So two things, it's also a report to give you detail, and it's also a way to inactivate or remove your inactive records. Again, just one more thing on deleting. You cannot delete unless the record is inactive. So if I want to delete this customer too, are you sure you want to delete? I cannot. So if I edit it, uncheck active, hit save, I now have an inactive record and I'm allowed to delete it. Also from this screen, I can make it inactive here as well. And you can copy. I always love a good copy function. Helps out. So that's everything for customer reservation. I just want to touch on customer forecast just a little bit. So up in the setup type, you can just click on forecast and hit search. I did set one up, so it's set up the same. You hit your new, you can do your warehouse, your customer, ship to. You can do groups in forecasting. So if you have ship to groups of ship tos you want to do for forecasting, you can do that here. Your contract, your reference, your estimated usage rate, and your expired forecast usage. Remove or normal. I'm just going to hit back. I would hit save here, but I already set one up, so I just want to go into it. And then it's the same. We go to our detail. So let's hit new. So we have a product. The total expected quantity is not in there. It'll be calculated. Expected run rate 100%. If you don't expect them to go to the 100, you can change that. The grade will auto-populate once you start selling the product, and then you can put in your forecast. So you can forecast this. So what this does is it uses regular usage plus forecasted data to see where your buying should be for the future. So if you have customers, like a good one is those customers that sell pools, right? They have higher commitments in the summer because that's when we all use pools up here in freezing cold Michigan, especially in Saginaw today. They have higher usage rates in the summer months. And so you can actually use this forecasting for stuff like that. So we go to June, we might increase it to 50, and it'll look at your average usage and your forecast usage for your PO-RAR. This can also be imported with that import screen, and you can run you can do the exports on it as well. And there is a couple other things. If we go to customer forecast report. So again, here's our ranges. We can put in, we can look at This will also inactive or delete our forecast. So just like our customer reservation report, we can inactive, delete, or neither. We can select the active or inactive or both, display product detail, and then our variance percent. So two things, we can have just a report or we can delete and inactivate them as well. And then we have one more forecasting one.
We have a question on forecast months as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, how many months usage information is needed to forecast?
It uses the same standard 25 months that the average usage uses. And you can only do it for a year, I think. So if we go back to here and I come in here and I hit edit. Oh, I can't. So I had to change my start date. I had to change my expiration date to March because it only allows you to go to 1 year. So you can do 1 year of forecasting. So usage will go back the 2 years, the forecasting will go plus the 1 year. And then we have our usage report. Let's put our customer in. Our ranges, pretty much all the same, all of our fields. Inactivate, delete early, variance, create the file, and then we can do exports here as well. So this will export our usage. And then it looks like we can inactivate, delete here and neither.
So we have another question.
Yep, go ahead.
What happens if sales falls short of forecast? For example, customer commits to 10 per month, but only ends up buying 5.
You can go back and change the forecast. Like I said, the RAR does use the usage and the forecast. I'm not sure what it'll do. I'll test it out. I'll have to see.
So you may be overbuying for the commitment, but your
Yes.
customer may not be honoring their commitment. That's
Correct.
the problem.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Okay. And that's why there's contracts in here too, because a lot of people have, contracts that they're required to purchase from. Their customers are required. So yeah, you would have to go back and maintain it.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, wait, let's see if this is something different. I just want to see, I want to keep on target here. So if the customer only gives the next 6 months usage, will the system calculate an average of 12 months, then showing less usage?
No, it'll probably show you less usage.
Yep, okay. When you're setting up the customer forecast product, not the customer forecast, the reservation product, when you're adding that, there's a field for priority. Is that the same kind of priority that you would set at the customer level, where you would put a higher priority for fill?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I think 1 here is the first.
That's the top priority.
Top priority.
That's what the default is. Okay.
Yeah, yep. It usually defaults to the top priority, so that's probably 1 here. And I think it goes up to 99 on this one too.
Okay.
A couple other things I just want to hit on. Customer product reservations are filled during backorder fill after specials, non-stocks, directs, and ties. So those will all trump your customer reservation. Customer reservation trumps back orders and open orders. So anything not tied that is an open order will fall behind customer reservation. So if you have a demand for a non-customer reservation and you have 0 on hand, it will go to that once you put that in that PO. If it's only enough for the customer reservation, it will go there first. So just know that. And then there is one authorization point. I will show you guys here real quick. Allow quantity pulled from reservations. If you are allowed to do that, you can pull the customer reservations from other customers. So if you don't have this, you can't. Oh, one thing I did want to touch on, I wanted to make sure you guys saw. So if we have an on hand of 2, customer reservation of 2, so our net is 0, and we have a customer that is not that customer reservation that wants that product, if you have access to maintain balances, you can actually come in here and change this to 0 and hit save. And it should take it off your product here. There you go. So now you have, it took it off the quantity reservation. So now you're short 2, and then there's your 2 available. So if you need to steal that product from a customer reservation, that's the way you can do it. But again, you have to have that access to maintain customer balances in order to change that field. And then if you want, which is why they didn't grayed out, I can put it back, hit save. Back to my product inquiry, hit search. And now I'm short 0. So I stole it. So just know that there is, as long as you have it set up, you can get around stealing that product out of there, because real world, we're always going to need to rob Peter to pay Paul sometimes, especially right now with everybody and their supply chain issues. So it's there for you if you need it. And just let me check my notes, make sure I covered everything for you. I think so. Yeah. That's all I have, Julie. That is everything for customer reservation.
Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat or in the questions box. We will be sending out the recording of this session to all who attended today. Paul Taylor is bringing up blanket orders. He's got a question about blanket orders.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, let me unmute him so that
Okay.
he can speak. Hold on a second. Let's see. I have to get to, here's Paul. Let me see if I can unmute him. Paul, are you able to talk now?
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can.
Awesome. So in our testing, we tested out the customer reservation with blanket orders. Oh, sorry. And it's not working with blanket orders from what we can see unless we're doing something wrong. Has anybody tested it with blanket orders, or can you go through a blanket order to see maybe where we were messing up?
So was it on the release of the orders that it wasn't honoring the reservation? Where in the process was it failing?
It was not pulling from the reservation.
It's not using the reservation at all.
Okay, so when you release an order, it doesn't care if you've got a reservation, it's going to take it? Oh, sorry, Tina, how did I mute you? Sorry. Hold on, let me, probably when I unmuted Paul and muted Tina somehow. I apologize. Let's see if I can figure this out. Let's try that. I'm unmuting everybody for a minute. Let's see. Hopefully we won't get too much noise. Can you talk now? Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so I think that the blankets is part of that bug. It's just not calculating correctly what it needs to be the on hand. So it should be looking at, anything on demand, whether it's a blanket order, an order, the customer reservation piece, and the min and max. It's not looking at it correctly. So we'll keep an eye on that JIRA and let you guys know when it gets fixed. But yeah, it wasn't ordered, Paul, it wasn't ordering correctly. It didn't get the right amount for me either.
Okay, so we have one open JIRA we're watching, but we'll let everyone know when that's been fixed. How about that? We can send out a blast on that. Any other comments or questions on this topic? If not, we'll end the session today, and I'll send out the recording to all those who attended. Tina, thank you so much. This was really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have a question.
Go ahead.
Would the reservations work for warehouse transfers? We transfer a lot of product to our customer and then it goes into a vending machine until they pull from the vending machine.
Oh, so you're sending it to a different warehouse that's a vending machine.
Yes.
And you want to make sure you always have on hand for that warehouse transfer. I think total available now. Let's try it real quick. I think let's go to our advanced. Oh, there it is. Net available 2. Yep, it's only pulling up the 2 available.
But
So
we would have to have that warehouse basically set up with a reservation,
Yes.
not a customer, a warehouse.
Yeah, you couldn't just do the warehouse because the customer is required.
Doesn't it have to be an ARP vendor product?
Yeah.
Is that the issue?
Well, yeah, customer is required. You do have to do it by customer. We can't, there's no way to get around it. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll see if there's anything in forum for it. Or in extreme people asking about transfers.
Mhm.
But yeah, you'd have to set it up with a customer in a warehouse so you couldn't do a transfer. It wouldn't let you steal it.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for your participation. This was a really active session. Thank you very much, and be watching for our next webinar next month on Info Document Management, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.